everybody, this is Michelle from Virtual Hand Care, and in this video I wanted to show you 5 exercises to get your wrist flexion back. So if you've had a broken bone in your wrist, maybe a sprain or strain, or maybe even had an elbow injury but you cast on or a splint on for a long time and you notice that you're having a hard time getting your wrist flexion range of motion back, so bringing that wrist forward, then this video is for you. Okay, so exercise number 1, this one is gonna be more of a warming up exercise. And in fact, we're even gonna be including the forearm into the exercise, because when you're working on trying to get wrist flexion, it's really important to make sure that you also have some forearm rotation too. So if you're struggling with forearm rotation, in particular supination, then check out this video here that I have where I show you some of my top favorite exercises to help get your supination back. Okay, so exercise number 1, this is more of a warming up type of exercise, but we're gonna start by doing some simple figure 8 exercises. So what you wanna do is you wanna stand up nice and tall. You can do this sitting too if you would like. However, we're gonna start by just doing a little bit of forearm rotation, palm up and palm down, but we're also going to include some wrist movement in with it. So we're trying to just kind of loosen things up into the wrist and kind of get a little more of a natural flowing process. This might feel a little robotic to you right now, especially if you're stiff. You might not feel like it flows very nicely. However, do make sure that you are relaxing in the shoulders, taking some good deep breaths. And you can even close your eyes. You can do the other arm with you if that feels like it kind of helps feel a little more natural. So we're gonna just sit here for a few seconds here. And you can go a little faster, or if you feel like you need to go a little bit slower, you can do that as well. And you can make bigger circles. And notice my elbows are staying more at my side. You want to make sure when you're working on forearm and wrist mobility that you're not compensating in the shoulder. So we're just doing some good movements. Forearm is moving up and down, wrist is rotating, and doing some nice slow movements. Taking some good deep breaths here. And relax. Good. Okay, exercise number 2. This one is active wrist flexion. So now we're gonna use our own muscle power to try to flex the wrist. But we're gonna do that by resting our arm on a pillow, maybe on the edge of a table. So what you wanna do is you want to have your arm hang off on the side of a table, or again, like I said, propped up on a pillow. And what you wanna do here is you want to relax the fingers and really try to concentrate just on bringing the wrist down towards the floor. You're going to pull and try to use those muscles in the forearm here and try to pull that wrist forward, and let gravity help also stretch and pull this down. And you want to hold here as much as you can, really trying to reach those fingers down towards the floor. Hold here a couple of seconds. And relax. Now let's do a couple of those. Ready? Pull down. Really try to get those fingers down. Bend that wrist down towards the ground. And relax. Hold, hold, hold. Pull it down. And relax. And now when you relax, you don't want to go up into the opposite position. We really want to try to continue to keep going forward, and when we relax, we don't want to lose what we have gained. So we want each of those to build on each other. So even if you're only getting 1 more degree as you come down each time, 1 degree turns into 2 degrees and 3 degrees and 4 degrees of motion. So we want each one to build on the other. And so then of course you would want to do about 10 of these, holding a good 5 to 10 seconds. And then relaxing. Okay, so exercise number 3 also plays on this one as well. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our other hand to try to help get a little more flexion. So again, you wanna pull down as far as you can go, just like you did in exercise 2, but this time we're actually gonna do a little bit of massage into the arm here, because if some things are a little tight and that's what's keeping the wrist from moving, then we want to make sure that we try to loosen up some of the muscle here. So we're going to kind of go in a little bit of a traction back and forth here. So we're moving that skin around. We're also kind of putting pressure on some of those muscles, and we're kind of making our way up into the hand here. So start down into the muscle and do a little bit of movement here, up and down, then come down, keep moving a little bit farther and farther. And eventually you're gonna be kind of on top of the wrist and then on top of the hand. And what you wanna do here is when you get on top of that hand, what we're looking to do is pull that skin a little bit towards the fingers, but then put a little bit of pressure and stretch that wrist a little bit more. And then hold that. Hold for a good 5 to 10 seconds. And then just relax that. And again, don't relax up into the opposite, because again, we're trying to build on each of these. Ready? Let's do a few more of those. Let's move that skin around, massage that muscle a little bit. Come up into a little bit closer to the wrist each time. Even coming on top of the wrist, relaxing the fingers. And again, starting to come down into the hand. And then finally, when you feel like things get a little bit loosened up and you're kind of up into the hand, now pull that skin down, but also put pressure on that wrist to try to push that wrist forward. So we're doing that passive wrist flexion stretch. Holding this a good 5 to 10 seconds. And relax. Now, of course, do make sure that you're not putting too much pressure on the arm. You may want to do this on a pillow. If you feel like you're getting some numbness and tingling in the fingers, it could be because you're putting a lot of pressure down into that arm. So putting something a little soft underneath your arm will help that. Let's do one more. And relax. Okay, exercise number 4. This one is holding on to something without weight, like a washcloth, maybe a highlighter, a pen or pencil. What we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna work on some composite wrist flexion. That basically means that we're not gonna let the fingers do the work. So those other exercises, we were having the fingers open. That is good to help loosen the wrist up, but we also want to try to do it without the finger flexors helping us move. So by holding on to something, now we're really just working on the wrist muscles and the wrist tendons to try to pull our wrist forward. So grab yourself a highlighter, something that doesn't have any real weight to it. For this one, we're gonna prop our elbow up on top of a table, a pillow, and what we're gonna do is hold on to that marker, pen, whatever you have. You can just curl the fingers if you want to without holding on to anything, but I find that often when we do that, our fingers still kind of want to pop forward. So I find that to not let that kind of cheating happen, let's hold on to something. And then what you want to do is you want to work on active flexion. So you're trying to really get these muscles activated to try to pull forward. So pull, pull, pull forward. And relax, and pull forward, and relax, and forward, and relax. And what I want you to do is even provide a little bit of stimulation to these flexors here, this flexor wad. That's what's helping pull and contract you down. So do a little bit of stimulation, a little bit of massage to these flexors, just to kind of wake those up, and then pull forward. Good. And let's do a couple of more of those. Forward, forward. Good, and you can play around with massaging other parts of the arm if they feel kind of tight. If the back of the wrist feels tight too when you're trying to go forward, then do a little bit of massaging back there while you're actually going through the movement too, to see if that will help increase that range of motion. Okay, so finally, exercise number 5 to increase your wrist flexion. This one, again, we're gonna go back to hanging our arm off of the edge of a table or a pillow. This one is gonna be a little different than our other exercises where we hung our wrist off on the edge. What we're actually going to be doing is we're actually gonna be providing a little bit of traction and pull on the wrist using our other hand. To do that, you wanna grasp the hand right above those carpal bones in the wrist. So what you're looking to do then is you're going to actually provide a little traction out, and then down. So we're almost kind of like pulling things apart a little bit to give some space in those carpal bones that could be just really tight and bound up. So we're going to pull out, and then keeping that light traction. This isn't an aggressive traction. We're just pulling out a little bit, enough to what's comfortable for you. And then we're going to then move the whole arm down and the wrist down. So we're giving a downward pressure. So pull out, relaxing the fingers and applying some downward pressure. Taking a good few deep breaths. So with this one, to really get this loosened up, you can hold this for several seconds. We're talking 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds. So if things are just really, really tight and they're just not responding, then you may want to hang out here for a little while and see if your tissue just needs a longer stretch. And then, of course, relax up. Now for that one, that's a little more aggressive, so you might only want to do 2 or 3 of those because, you know, of course, you don't want to be causing a lot of pain, a lot of swelling. You might feel a little bit of discomfort, but if you're pushing too hard, you can make your wrist swell more, which is going to make it even harder for you to move, and it can be counterproductive. Now, if you found any of those exercises helpful and you felt like it increased some of your wrist flexion, then do drop a comment below and let me know which one helped you the most. Do come back to this video as well at least 2 or 3 times a day to work through these exercises to really get the most out of your wrist flexion. If you know other people that could benefit from this, then do please give this video a like as well as share it with others. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And don't forget to check out these videos here that YouTube is suggesting for you. Thanks for watching.